So we'll do it all over again. Bob popped from the hold of Matt Kopp. Ball on its side, and again a squibber.
Whoa!
And Mustangs pick it up. Mike Bell has it. And we'll have to wait and see if it went 10 yards.
It certainly looked from here like it did, Joe. It'll depend on where the referee marks the ball. He threw his little sock out there that they do, and of course that was just beyond the area, but we'll have to wait and see.
I don't know. Officials may call timeout themselves and think about this, discuss it a little bit. Excellent execution by Mike Bell and the Mustangs on that squib kick. But it looks like
they
did not go quite 10 yards, so it'll be Niles football.
Our angle doesn't give us exactly the perfect look, and of course that referee was right on the line.
Yeah, it looked like it went about 9.5 yards.
Yeah,
it had to cross the Viking 45 and did not quite do that. So Niles will take control. Excellent field position now for the Vikings as they find themselves trailing by a score of 6-0.
I don't know if Bobby Pop can do that every time, but boy, that looked just about perfect. You couldn't draw that any better on the
just like you practice it, right?
Yes.
Dan Brawley will bring up the Vikings. 1st and 10 on the Mustang, on their own 45 rather. Long count, and he'll roll right. This is an option pass. He's going to keep it and be driven out of bounds just shy of the line of scrimmage.
Joe, something we want to watch a little bit as you figure out who made the tackle is Campbell, the sophomore tailback, number 22 for Niles. They're real high on him, and he did an excellent job last week.
Loss of 2. It'll be 2nd and 12 now for Niles. Mark Ruers over on that left sideline helping to drive him out of bounds. Again, Brawley the quarterback. Behind him, Cartwright and Campbell in the eye. Again, a long snap count, and a pitch will go to Campbell on the right side, and he's going to go nowhere. Darren Canerva in on the stop for the Mustangs. That'll bring up 3rd down. And call it 11. Nick Roush also went on that last stop for Portage Central, getting a start at linebacker tonight. So a run and a pass have produced negative yardage so far for Niles, and Brawley straight back to throw, looking over the middle, and he's got his man. That's John Elsey for a 1st down across the Mustang 45 and down to about the 42.
Well, Elsey found that seam, Joe, right in between the linebackers where they're dropping off to try to cut off that hook or that button hook pass, and the deep backs who have to, of course, respect all the time for any type of pass that's going way down the field.
Aaron Hinkland and Chris Norman checking in for the Mustangs. Nick Roush will sit down, the starting center for Portage Central. 1st and 10 for Niles. Vikings have the ball on the Mustang 42-yard line. This time the give will go deep inside to Campbell, and he's met hard at the line of scrimmage and brought down maybe a gain of a half a yard.
It's a great hit by Bruce Eaton on that. He didn't quite wrap up, but he sure stopped it up so that he could get all the help that he needed in order to only allow 1 yard.
Eaton, the linebacker for Portage Central, a junior at 6 feet, 194 pounds, and this is probably the biggest team that the Mustangs have had in the last couple of years.
It's been quite a while, Joe, since they've had a whole team right across the board with this much size.
2nd down and 9 for Niles. Ball on the 41 of the Mustangs. Double wide out to the top of your screen. Ball goes inside to Cartwright. He struggles forward to about the 36, 37-yard line before Eaton wraps him up. Also Randy Buller, a senior tri-captain for Portage Central.
Portage Central, Joe, is still making that initial hit and allowing enough time for the pursuit to get over there and slow them down without allowing too many yards. Put them in a situation where it looks like a passing situation at any rate.
3rd and 6. Ball inside the Mustang 40, down around about the 36-yard line, 37. Brawley straight back to throw this time, looking in the flat. And he's got Cartwright with a good catch, but he'll be short of that 1st down.
just a hair long on the pass, just a little bit where he couldn't kind of run under it and get his feet down, although it looked like that the Mustangs had him pretty well corralled anyway if he would have caught the ball and still had his footing.
Good defense by Portage Central. Again, the Vikings will come up. It'll be 4th and 7. I guess they lost a yard on that pass completion. And we'll see the punting formation for the Vikings. And their punter will hit it right around the 50-yard line, a high kick. Fair catch being signaled for. You can't see it in our picture.
We got a flag too, Joe.
Couple of them.
It looks like, if we can guess again and hope we can guess right one time, that Niles did not give Matt Kopp enough room to catch the ball. And when it's a fair catch, you have to give him the chance to catch the ball.
Another costly mistake by Niles. They've already been penalized for one illegal procedure, unnecessary roughness type call, and if indeed that is the call again, roughing the receiver on the fair catch, that'll be another big penalty and get the Mustangs out of the hole. Doug Roberts talking to the official. He's a tri-captain along with Randy Buller and Eric Munson. Dave Sperry are the tri-captains for Portage Central. Sperry, Roberts, and Buller. And penalty is indeed against Niles, and it's a major one. And it's just what you said, John.
Well, good. We guessed one. We're moving a little bit better, Joe.
You have to let the man have access to the ball when he calls for a fair catch. Portage Central will take over on about their own 28-yard line. 1st and 10, 5 minutes, 25 seconds left to play in the first quarter. And here come the Mustangs again. It'll be Marty Williams struggling forward to the 30-yard line.
I think Bob Knight, Joe, is trying to establish the basic veer, try to run against Niles a little bit, see what they have, try to move them off the line of scrimmage. The offensive line seems to be dominating the line of scrimmage in terms of at least pushing them back a little ways. The linebackers are getting on most of the tackles, which means that if you just pop one by the linebackers, you've got the big gainer.
Michael Magnus came up from his defensive secondary position on that last play to make the tackle. Portage Central now in a single tight end formation. Double tight again. One wide out, Stacy Young. Again, the ball goes inside to Williams, and he bursts through a hole over the 35 and down to about the 37 before he's wrapped up.
Well, you watch that play set up, Joe, by the basic veer, where Dan Knight comes right down, makes either the handoff or the fake into the line, and then runs a pitch, and then they just reverse that and run Marty Williams back the other way. Everybody else moving counter to the actual way that the ball is going to go.
Martin replaces Young in the Mustang offense at the wide receiver position. Norman and Polderman are the double tight ends in this basically run-oriented offense that we're seeing right now. And we've got another stoppage of play. Officials call this one. It'll be 3rd and 1 for Portage Central when we get back underway.
They seem to be talking to somebody up in the press box, Joe. I'm not sure if it's something to do with the clock or something to do with some other situation.
Well, I don't know either. I wish we had a headset. Referee talking with Coach Knight down along the sideline, explaining to him what's going on. I was saying I wish we had a sideline reporter or something that could tell us what was happening down there.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Maybe we can get one by next year, huh?
Oh, yeah. In any case, it'll be 3rd down and a short one for the Mustangs when play resumes. Portage Central shuttles their plays in via some hand signals. And so Danny Knight gets the call from the sideline. Officials still not ready to let the game continue. Now they are. Nick Roush over center, has the ball. Double tight end formation for the Mustangs. 3rd and 1. And again the ball goes to Williams, and he's got the first down across the 40 to the 41. Good blocking along the interior of that offensive line.
Joe, we certainly have a contrast in the two backs. Marty Williams, who is the big power back, close to 200 pounds or maybe even over 200 pounds, and Steve Pewitt, who is more of the scat back type. And if things work the way that Coach Knight would like them to, I'm sure that that's really going to confuse Niles' defense over the course of the evening.
First and 10 for Portage Central, ball on the 41 of the Mustangs. This time another pass, that same one we saw for the touchdown, and this one is overthrown. Again, the intended receiver, Stacy Young, the lone split end in this offense. Sometimes, John, it's good if you miss that. It loosens the defense up anyway.
Well, it sure can. When you do it on a first down situation, all of a sudden now they're looking, they're kind of watching everybody. They're a little concerned because Portage Central has run the last few, the little counters in the regular veer offense, and they're going to have to back up and respect that.
Danny Knight moving Stacy Young around up to the top of your picture. He'll split out left. Again, the double tight formation, and the quick pitch will come right to Marty Williams, and he's not going to go anywhere. An excellent play. Pat Mead in on the hit. And the man that really made the play, if we can find him, I think it was Maurice Miller coming up from the secondary. Excellent read by the Vikings on that one, smelling out that pitch back to the short end of the field.
Well, it sure was. I'm not sure if they're keying on Doug Roberts, who pulls out on that. And Doug Roberts may be one of the best pulling tackles, I'm sure he is in our conference, if not in this side of the state.
3rd and 14 for the Mustangs. Ball on their own 37, and Knight will drop straight back to pass. Again, he throws, and this one is over the head of his intended receiver. It's Chris Norman down there. And it'll bring up 4th and 14. And I imagine the punting unit.
Yes, Joe, I'm sure they'll bring those, or the punting unit in at this point. Niles does a couple different things on punt returns, but it's relatively basic. They're either going to try to block it, or in this case, probably put on a return. They want to put on a return right or left. So far in the season, they've shown their returns are to the wide side of the field. And again, it looks like it.
A nice high punt. Good roll for the Mustangs all the way down inside the 25-yard line. And I think they're going to mark it on the Viking 24. So Niles, once again, will start in fair field position. Certainly not anything too great, but down around the 20-25-yard line, they'll take that. It'll be 1st and 10 with just under 3 minutes left to play here in the first quarter.
Joe, it might be interesting. The last week, Niles tried to block every punt except one. Maybe they'll go back to that.
Brawley at quarterback for the Vikings, and he'll turn and give the ball back deep to Cartwright, I believe, and he is snowed under. That's 22. He is Carnell Campbell in the eye at tailback.
And Bruce Eaton was again he's having a heck of a first quarter already. He seems to be on almost all of the plays.
Excellent defense. Mustangs controlling the line of scrimmage on the defensive side of the ball as well. 2nd and 10. Defensive line for the Mustangs consisting of Ruers, Munson, Hinklin, Roberts, and Canerva. Niles this time in a formation where they'll run the ball left. Again, it's Campbell cutting back, but he's not going to find much running room. Chris Norman in on the stop, along with Doug Roberts and Terry Martin.
Joe, and kind of watching Bruce Eaton on that last play, I think what he's doing tonight is he's keying on Campbell. He from his linebacker position, he moved as soon as Campbell moved to his right, the offensive right. Bruce Eaton slid right along the line of scrimmage that way.
3rd and 8 for the Vikings. Again, the eye, Cartwright and Campbell behind Brawley, and the delay goes to Cartwright. He cuts right, he's across the 30 and to the 35, and still on his feet. And I believe he might have a first down.
Well, it looks like it, Joe. That was a pretty play. Seemed to get everybody moving one way, and then he slipped back in across the grain.
Portage Central perhaps expecting a pass that time, and the little delay caused the linebackers to drop back into the passing zone. And that gave Cartwright the opening he needed, and indeed he got that first down.